Hey guys, today we're going to look at how to do a pie chart. I know that some of you have learned how to work out the percentages, and when when you work out the percentages, maybe you divide your circle into smaller sections, and then you kind of count these, like maybe you do 5, 20, like 5, 10, 15, 20, etc. all the way around, so that you go all around from 0 to 100, and then you use a percentage to figure out. But today we're going to look at how to do this if you actually just work with degrees. So we're going to work out the degrees. As you know, there are 360 degrees in a circle. So this is our random data that we used. So we asked people, what do you like more? 5 people said dogs more, 7 people said cats, 2 people said birds, and 6 people said fish. So the first thing I need to do is I need to get the total, because obviously the full circle has to represent all the people that was part of the survey, and I just have to add everything. So 5 and 7 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus 6 is going to be 20. So this is the total for total amount of people. And now for me, I'll do a percentage first, just to show how percentages would have been done. So if I wanted the percentage of people, I would do 5 for the dogs on the 20, which is the total, and I would have multiplied with 100. You can just say multiply 100, but I know some people like 100 on 1, and then you take your trusty calculator, you just say 5 divided by 20. It's going to give you a decimal. You multiply that by 100, and then you get 25. So then you would know 25% of people like dogs. And then you do the same for cats. So you would do, for cats you'd say 7 divided by 20 times 100. For birds you'd say 2 divided by 20 times 100, and for fish you'd say 6 divided by 20 times 100. But we don't want to work the percentages out, although it can be useful. Maybe we need it in the sectors depending on what they ask for. But in this case I just want to do the degrees. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to say 5 out of 20. 5 people out of 20 people like the dogs. And instead of multiplying by 100, I'm going to multiply by 360, because there are 360 degrees in a circle. So it's 360 on 1. And I can just do this. Divided by 20 times 360, and I get, made a mistake there. 5 divided by 20 multiplied by 360, and we get 90. So 90 degrees. That's fairly simple. We're going to do the same with cats. I'm going to say 7 on 20 times 360 over 1, and do the same thing. So 7 divided by 20 multiplied by 360, and I get 126 degrees. Going to do the same for 2. So 2 out of 20 times 360 over 1. So 2 divided by 20, which we want 0.1, times 360, and then I get 36 degrees. And for the last one, 6 over 20 times 360, and I do the same thing. So 6 divided by 20, and then multiply that by 360, and I have 108. And if I did everything correctly, then the total here should be 360. So I can test it. I can say 108 plus 36 plus 126 plus 90, and I see it gives me 360. So now I know the amount of degrees that I need, and I have this handy tool which is called a protractor that I can't apparently lift off the board, but it is real. So to draw this, I start with making the dot where the compass made the line, and then I'll use my handy ruler to draw a line, straight line. And what I'll do now is I'll take this protractor. You can see there's a 0 on the outside. So obviously on the outside it goes from 0 till 180. On the inside it goes from 0 to 180. So for me it's easier to use the outside. So I'll move this little dot over into the middle, make sure it's straight there. And for the first one, I need 90 degrees. So I just count 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and I see that's 90 degrees, and I make a little dot. And then I have my first sector. So this would be dogs. Just gonna write it there, dogs. We'll look at the keys now or whatever. The next one is 126. So now I'm not gonna use this line, I'm gonna use this line. I'll just turn my protractor like this. This little dot is in the middle, make sure that's on the straight line. I think that's gonna be good enough. And now I use the outside to do 126. So obviously this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 90. I have 100, 110, 120, and then the 126 mark would be there. So I just draw my line. This is going to be cats. And for the next one, it's 36 degrees. So again, I'm going to use this, going to use the outside, and I'll put my protractor there, so that the outside is a 0, 10, 20, 30. The middle one is a 35, so just next to it is a 6. And I can finish that off with birds. And then the one that's left should be 108. So if we did everything right and I put my protractor here in the middle, then I see, oh, I go all the way till 100 and just less than 110, which would be 108. So this would be fish. It's always important to have a key. So we can do a key down here. So you do something like a key, and A would be dogs, and B might be cats, C will be birds, and D will be fish. So instead of us having this, we can do an A, a B, a C, and a D. Very important that the pie chart will need a title, and there's things that, well, there's three things that we want to see in the title. So what it is, so we would have, it's called a pie chart, and what is in it or about what is it. So it'll be a pie chart that shows us the animals of who, of a class, for example. So it just gives us a lot of information. So we can't just have pie chart, that's not good enough. So it has to be a full title. And then this should be drawn in pencil, and then the writing parts can be done in pen. But yeah, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this. Awesome.